You have reached the public service. Ask yourself one question. Are you a taker or a maker? As with any situation in life, is your situation taking or making you happy? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's 2026, and this is a public service show. And I'm Sandra.
And I'm Kirk.
And I'm taking these off so
not
that I can
conducive.
read.
Not conducive for show, but we wanted to show you we actually know how to have fun.
And we are wishing all of you a very wonderful and hopefully prosperous, safe, and happy New Year. Happy New Year, husband.
Happy New Year, sweetheart. No, I'm going to get my head turned around here.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, let me put this here. And I figured I might as well just put the old 2026. Yep, yeah, that gets it.
Let me turn mine around so we're like copacetic.
All right.
So today's show is about power, real or perceived.
Ooh.
So power can mean many things, In political science, sociology, the capacity to influence, lead, dominate, or otherwise have an impact on the lives or actions of others in society. The concept of power encompasses, but is not limited to, the notion of authority. Unlike authority, which implies legitimacy, power can be exercised illegitimately.
Who do we know that's exercising illegitimate power?
A lot of people around the world currently are behaving quite badly.
I'm not worried about the world. Here, this country, we gotta... I don't know if we actually need to spell it out, do we?
Actually, we don't.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to talk about power and who has it and who doesn't. So we're going to get a man's perspective now on men's power in the world. I got some sparkle.
Oh, no.
That's okay. Hey, life is life.
Man's power in the world? Are you kidding me? Unfortunately, we've had too much of it for too long. Let's just put it there. I mean, you could probably count on 2 hands and 2 feet the women throughout history, recorded history.
Yeah, but so this is men's power.
Well, I'm just saying.
I will talk about women's history.
Well, yeah, man's power in the world. I mean, that's a very, very wide range. And let's just call it out. It's an unmitigated brass tack mess. It just seems like every man that gets power, more often than not, basically misuses it and tends to hurt people with it. Whether that be hurting their employees, hurting constituencies, hurting your own loved ones and family. I mean, let's face it, power in the house. You can go all the way, right down to, your own 4 walls. I think, for this particular topic, we're talking about people out there in the world and the power
that they yield. May I ask you a couple of questions
as
a man?
Yes, please do.
And a history major.
Used to
When did money corrupt men's vision, you think, in our history? Because I believe that money is the reason why.
Thousands of years ago. I mean, it's been going on that long. I mean, let's face it.
But when was its birth, you think?
Pharaohs before.
Right.
Easily. I mean, you're talking about... there's recorded history all over the planet of men abusing power, 2 and 3 and 4,000 years, BC, if you believe that kind of stuff. But, our calendar is based on it, so it is what it is. But the minute back when human beings started, they got by trading. I had a skill, I made X or grew X or hunted X or whatever, and I traded it to you for something you had. And different people, different skills, the whole conglomerate came together and had, started to build a society. Fast forward to the introduction of lazy people who thought that they could get by and take from others without inputting into the collective or the group of people or your society, whatever you're at. And I think there, maybe the discovery of precious metals or a precious resource, something that someone had that they could hold over others. And let's just face it, the men being the physically stronger sex, obviously took it and ran with it, and here we are today. And there are just millions of series of events over the course of time, and this is where we're at. And nowadays, the funny thing about power, especially, men with power, we like to call ourselves evolved, or we're thinking people, or we're educated, and I don't see it. I see men wielding power in horrible ways, and they have been. I mean, hello, look over our shoulders. That was a man wielding power, and he wielded power and provided a nasty service for other powerful men. For every woman that you may see, there are 500 men. It is. It's not a question of it is what it is. It's not a question of it evolved that way. It just is. And we've evolved to a point where, the power needs to get distributed because there's no equality. People are getting, whole half of humanity is getting left out in the cold, abused, not given equal rights, not given equal shot at things. The power is being abused.
I agree. And as has been stated, I am the weaker sex. I don't know how in history I got labeled that way because, frankly, I believe that women are stronger in some ways because we can bring forth life, and that's an amazing power to have. So how does that make me weaker than men? I may not be as physically as strong, but boy, can I endure a lot more pain than he can, as I've had children.
That's true.
So I don't know how that makes me weak. But beyond that, women's power in the world, our existence in the world, quite often is marginalized because we're physically weaker. But are we physically weaker? We're capable of doing wonderful things, just like men. Our brains are just as expansive. We're just as, musically inclined. We may not be able to go out there and lift a truck, depending on if our child is underneath it, off of something, but I don't know. So our power in the world is very, very limited because of men. They take our power from us, which is shameful because we contribute just as much or more.
Yes.
Because all of you men who marginalize us came through a woman to get here. The first woman I've ever heard of as a child in the Pharaohs, way back when, was Cleopatra. And I was curious about her. I'm like, pharaohs, men are kings. I'd never heard of a woman ruler. She was the first one I heard about. And of course, history is always written by the victor. So there was some not so good things written about her and some good things written about her. And I'm like, as a child, a woman can rule. Why can't a woman rule? I asked my dad. My dad goes, girls can rule. But then I step outside my door and you look around the world and you see everywhere, put a burqa on, shut your mouth, go in the kitchen and cook, We don't need your input because we have all of the answers. And then there are a lot of women that are amazing mathematicians that actually sent our rockets into space.
Hidden Figures.
But yes, a movie called Hidden Figures. And then you learn that just because of physicality doesn't make you weak. So a woman's power in the world, and you don't see very many of us with it. And it is by design. Why? Well, in some instances, you won't feel powerful unless you're stepping on somebody, holding somebody down. I'm above you. I'm better than you. I'm controlling you. Those are all terrible things to have to exist in as a woman. And I have. I'm a brown woman. I've known it all. So my standing in the world is precarious at times. And I try not to limit myself because of it. I try to see, even though I'm swimming underwater, I try to see the air above. And how do I do that? I find ways around the people that want to limit me. And a lot of women have. There are some wonderful women that throughout history have endured some horrible things just to have a voice. I'm still questioning why I'm not allowed to have a voice. And I understand there's a litany of books written on why women shouldn't be allowed to vote, shouldn't be allowed to speak, shouldn't be allowed to even have ideology. But as long as she does what she's told, she'll have a perfect life? Oops. There's this little thing called divorce. There's this little thing called left, separate, and all these things. So you don't have a perfect life. Please explain to me how women in the world are considered second-class citizens, and they are the poorest in the world. And until we fix that, because it's true,
yes,
women
not
and
any
children
contention out of me.
Are the poorest in the world. We're the most controlled, and we're the most limited.
Most put upon.
And I'm still wondering, how did this happen? How did this terrible separation between men and women come to just economics? You know, if we don't give him enough money, my pay is less than his. My standing in banks and things are less than his. But how does that lift anybody up? It doesn't. Because I'm supposed to rely on him for a living. But what if he doesn't want to be with me? And I'm not educated and things like that. So, in a lot of places, they don't educate the women. Why? Makes a really good servant, doesn't it? She can serve me food, she can do this, she can do that, but I don't want her to know why she's in her station in life. And I'm not sure that's going to change anytime soon until we educate more people to understand that if we lived in a society where women were cared for and not discarded like, everyday shoes or something disposable, and we were actually cherished and lifted up and financially taken care of, maybe you could pull that off. But you can't have socially and financially, alienated us and tell us we're supposed to be happy about that. And that's what's happening.
And has been happening.
For
centuries.
For a long time. For the beginning of history, yes.
Centuries.
For centuries. And now I'm one of the women that is going to sit beside my man and say, I deserve a voice. I've worked. I deserve pay. I've worked. I deserve a vote. It's my money that's taxed. So why am I not equal? And it's not just the United States. There's country after country after country after country. And I can't say that we're an isolated situation, because we're not. So moving on. Does our government limit or amplify our powers?
Even done. we're not even close. We're moving on way too fast.
Hold on. Now, if you want to do the dynamic between you and I, and how, or what do you want to expand on?
No. It's just there's some things that need to be said.
Okay.
It's called. It needs to change, and it needs to change yesterday.
Yeah, but we know that.
It needs, but see, we need to be clear that in this, I mean, as the world turns, this country is considered one of the best places for women to exist, and that's not saying a lot.
Is that true? Because I'm a woman, and you just spoke for me. So
no. I just said as the world turns, this is considered one. Believe me. If you're in a lot of these other countries, they're going to go, well, where do you think that women have the most rights? And the first words off these people's lips is going to be the United States, when you and I know that that's not an accurate statement.
Well, they're not going to say the United States. There's some other countries, like Nordic countries, that treat their women pretty good.
They do.
So we're not the only one. There's other countries, like I hear Sweden is pretty good.
But I was building to something, actually.
I'm sorry?
So, but on the heels of that statement, crack the current, I guess I'm going to use the term, conservative party and their new doctrine called 2025. And that basically is a how-to staple women back in the house, where their rights across the board, from top to bottom, are stripped. And they're in the process of doing it right now. I want to make sure I got that out there, because that's important.
I so agree.
Just want to make that out there,
Yeah.
They're in the process of stripping away women's power.
That's a very valid point, and he is very correct on that. I have heard and read that I need to shut up, get off the camera, and go and cook.
Yeah, which segues into our...
It segues into...
Please continue now, sweet.
Does our government limit or amplify our powers? Now, I'm going to just drop the mic here. It will amplify his powers and limit mine.
Yep.
And they are currently doing that as they speak. I mean...
Right now.
I don't know if we need to go point by point, because I know you all see it.
Yeah.
And we have so many bigger issues. But I did want to say that. I wanted to say that I feel marginalized by our government every day. When I hear them talk about me, I'm a footnote and I'm a problem. Yeah. And I need to be handled. Yeah. And I need to be told what to do like a toddler.
Yeah.
And I need to be uneducated very quickly. And I also need to handle my children so that they are also limited. Yeah. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
And I also hear that I don't need money because I'm being taken care of by him.
Yeah, you got a man. I mean,
and
what do you need money
do not need to have any kind of choice about my lifestyle.
No voting, too, remember.
That's the choice.
They're trying to take that.
No choices. I am to be told what to do, and I am to do it without reservation.
I have actually seen on television and the news women standing there and telling these different news people who are coming to these various rallies and look straight into the camera and say, my husband will speak for me. My husband will talk for me. And I look at that person and I wonder to myself, how sad must her life be that that's where she's been reduced to, that she's in this country walking around in the street with a mindset that she has no choice, she has no right, she has no access to X, Y, and Z because her husband is the one
who
gets to dictate that.
I've got to say something.
Please get it out there.
Because we have a segment, like you said, of the Republican Party, and there are women that are in power in our Congress that are telling me to go home. Now, I am looking at them with the same mouth, and I'm saying, if this is a doctrine that you live by, why am I looking at you on television? Why don't you go home? So either it is a told kind of a rule that they don't have to live by, right? Or is it something they all want us to actually sign on for? I'm going to tell you, I don't have respect for anybody that tells somebody else what to do when they're the ones that should be doing it.
Oh, yeah.
So if you live by that edict, please, by all means, get off of my television, or whatever I'm streaming, and take yourself home, clean your own floors, and let's have less of you. And that would be a really nice gift for me.
I'm down with that.
I just had to say that.
Practice what you preach, right?
Yeah, isn't that what it is?
I mean, geez.
If it's so important and it's something that should be,
Very simple to me.
handled right away, that all of us are supposed to go home, what are you doing out? Who
right.
let you out of your cage?
Yeah.
Who let you out?
Well said.
Anyway, our next...
Let's see here. The next point. So, the government is, yes, limiting, amplifying.
Exactly.
And let's be clear about the men here. It's amplifying white men.
Right.
If you're a brown man, you need not apply because these don't apply to you. This is only for white men because, these clearly uneducated people running our government,
right,
all of them very uneducated, are looking into the cameras and they're passing laws or trying to tell us to.
Even though he says the term white male, I have heard a lot of Hispanics say that they consider themselves white.
White men don't.
Now,
think you
wait
are.
a minute.
Mm-mm.
I want you to understand something. If you're not watching what's happening to Hispanics in our country, then you need to repair your glasses, because the people in charge do not consider you white. And they never will. So be careful what you designate yourself as and think that you're exempt from what they're doing, because you are exactly who they're coming for. Regardless of what you believe you are, that is not how they see you.
Yeah.
So,
no, I'm not one of those white men. I'm here to fight for everybody else. And there's a lot of people like me, but the reality on the ground is these are white people in this government entity laying their law and edict down on all the rest of us.
right.
And oh, by the way, white men who are poor, you get lumped up in that too. So make sure you don't think you're above the fray.
No, they don't. I mean, I can't. They do.
They do think they are.
Let me erase and review.
Yeah.
So the next one is, what is our countrymen's responsibility to each other? Now, having pride in your country is wonderful.
I agree.
But if you're a secular kind of a person, that you only have pride in this type of people.
Ah, yes.
Or you only have pride in this type of people.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we got here. We got here because we were divided. It doesn't matter what color you are. If you were born here, you're my countryman. And we need to stop looking at, he's a white American, she's a brown American. That's how we ended up losing our footing and helping each other. I know that no matter what I say, there's always going to be a percentage of you people out there that say, I don't want to help anybody else.
Yeah.
But I implore you to at least listen to the facts. One, everything that you take, your fire, your police, your schools, your hospitals, everything is pooled resources.
That's right.
From white, brown, Asian, everything, Hispanic. We all pool our money. So you're already benefiting from minority money. And minorities are benefiting from everybody else's money as well. So if you don't understand that, that is the basics of what your country is. Your country is socialist in a lot of areas, but you just don't understand it. I'm telling you, your fire, your police, your schools, all of it is pooled resources. Your hospitals, we all go to the same hospitals. They don't say only white people in this hospital, brown people in this hospital. That's pooled resources. Every time somebody goes in there, brown, white, or whatever, that's money from them. Pooled resources. You understand? Every time you go to a bank, all the money that's collected in there is from everybody. That is pooled resources. So don't say you don't want to help anybody, because everybody's helping you. Everyone's money is working for you. So if you want to pull out, take your little money, give up your fire, your police, get rid of everything. And then you can say you don't want to help anybody.
Yeah.
Because then you're no longer on the dole.
And
So that's just my point. I think that we should help each other as countrymen and women, as I make sure we put women in there.
It's all these small-minded people.
And we got divided because I think there's a segment of us that don't understand how this country works. They just enjoy the fruits of the labor. And then there's a segment that does understand, and they're the ones that are out there fighting. They're out there they're picking up signs. They're doing everything they need to do within the law to try to get their voices heard. And I'm with you. Sorry, did I go on too long?
I'm just, for you people who think that somehow you miraculously got here all by your lonesome, and that includes your entire line, whatever you want to call it, your genetic line, your family, your history, your tree, yeah, you better wake up. Nobody got here by themselves. Of that I can guarantee you. The last time I checked, there wasn't a rocket scientist in every household. There wasn't a mechanical engineer in every household. Heck, there wasn't even a chef in every household. So these people, this is what we've touched on this before. This is why the human species has gotten as far as it has, is because we work together to get to an end point. And we've come across a period in our time, our history, and this isn't the first time. It seems like clearly they say people who do not study history are doomed to repeat it. Well,
Yeah,
we
you
have
got that
some
right.
very serious, uneducated people.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, the last time I checked, at least in the United States of America, social studies and history was a part of the curriculum. So I'm getting the sense that 98% of the people who were a part of those classes decided not to attend. Maybe those were the classes they chose they wanted to fail for the year.
But what was the statistic we just found out of the uneducated?
Oh, my goodness.
Illiterates.
57% of white people, white people in this country cannot read above an 11-year-old. That's 6th grade, people.
Right.
That actually may be 5th grade. Mm-hmm. Cannot read and comprehend above an 11-year-old.
Right.
And you people are supposed to, what are the countrymen's responsibilities to each other? You're responsible for actually getting an education so that when you try to throw your voice out there with the rest of us, you're not talking about things that are 600 years old. You're not throwing ideas out that are from the 1950s and 30s and 40s.
Or ideas that somebody else planted in you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You went somewhere and somebody planted an idea and it's growing like a seed in you. And then you go out in the public and they look at you they cock their head. Dogs cock their head when they're confused. Intelligent people cock their head because they're afraid to tell you the truth. That you have some antiquated information that is not applicable. I mean,
It's just
that's
crazy.
not only not applicable, that it's probably harmful to someone else. And this is what we're dealing with. We're looking at people like, do we even have time to correct you when we have so many fires over here?
Yeah.
That's what we're dealing with. We don't have time to correct you just yet. Here, read this pamphlet. But then you give it to them, they can't read.
They can't read.
Or comprehend.
I wonder how they read the ballots.
I don't know, but I saw about 6 years ago when you have a button to push and you can stop pregnancy. He was a senator. I'm like, OMG. Here's a pamphlet to read. And then I cock my head and I'm like, I don't have time to deal with you. There are fires over here. So we're going to move on.
What is your countrymen's responsibility to each other? Everything.
Education.
Everything. Everything. Everything that you think that you're off running around doing your own small government, small this. It's just, sorry, we're distracted. The cat's arms. He just came from under the door. She's like, oh,
She's like,
what's going on?
It's kind of cute.
Everything.
This is just real.
Everything.
But he's right.
We are responsible for everything.
But
I'm responsible for the person next door to make sure that
Right.
I am educated and up to speed so the decisions I make are taking into consideration my family and their family.
Right.
Because we're going to get it all together.
And we are responsible for isolating the bad people that do not want to live in functional society.
That's a
There's
good
a
thing, yes.
There's a lot of people that do not want to live in functional society. They want to be over
Want
somebody.
to rule it.
They want to hurt people. We don't have the time or the capability to fix them, but we have cages for them. And I think that if you don't want to be part of something growing, learning, building, you're a taker and a breaker.
Yeah, you're certainly not a maker.
Yes, exactly right. That you need to be put aside, put asunder. And some can be saved and some cannot. So that's just my opinion, because I've seen a lot of people end up in horrible situations for trusting the wrong people, listening to the wrong information, going to the wrong places. They are not learning. They're following. They're following what they're told to follow, even if it's the wrong information.
Drop
I'm
the
not
mic on that
tapping.
one.
Am I doing good?
You're doing great.
I'm not
I
tapping.
think we should.
Move
let me
on.
read this one.
Yes, sir.
Should companies be allowed to control the lifestyle of their workers? No.
Okay.
No.
I have heard the statement, companies are people too. So, I challenge a company to file their taxes as a single adult. You don't get, and by the way, you have to pay for your local schools, your local roads. You have to pay, for everything else that we have to pay, your building taxes. You can't write that stuff off. That's not allowed anymore. That was changed 5-6 years ago. So if you are a people, then you should file single, not married, because all the employees are something different.
That's right.
And let's see how your tax base goes, buddy, right? And I am tired of corporations bending the law to get away with everything. They use our roads to get their goods and services back and forth. Our roads are torn up. They pollute our air with their whatever they're making. You can see soot everywhere, right? They disrespect workers by not paying them enough.
Everywhere.
They don't respect the fact that if a woman works 8 hours, she deserves the same pay if she's doing this as a man. They marginalize health care. They make your insurance different. Well, you're a woman, so we're going to give you a little bit less or a little bit more. And you're a man, so we're going to pay you this. Everything has been piecemealed out to hurt individual people in companies and to maximize profits. Boom! boom.
Maximize
Boom. I'm going to make
profits.
more money if I pay my employees less, if I give them less benefits, if I give them less time off. 2 weeks is too much. Now, if you get sick, we're going to make that time, that the 2 weeks, gone. Everybody gets sick. So people basically end up, figure, one flu will take a week and a half. One flu. So you're not getting any time off. But Mr. CEO doesn't care. You know why? Because he doesn't have to pay you any time off now. You haven't earned anything. They're finding every way to keep in touch with you. Guess what? That's where cell phones come in handy. Even though you're off, you did your 8 hours, maybe even 8.5, and didn't get paid for that half, they're going to reach out and touch you on the cell phone. They'll even give you a cell phone so they make sure that they can make you work overtime for free. But they're people. Keep in mind, they're people. So if they're people, why don't they do their own work overtime?
Yeah.
Why aren't they paying? See, all of these little picks at you, all of these little extras they take out of you is giving them billions. And every time you concede, they laugh at you. They go, oh, I got this one. This one's working for free, this amount of hours. And that stuff adds up over a year. If you were to take how much you've done over your allotted time for work, you would find that you've worked for almost a month for free. Maybe 3 or 4 weeks for free.
I'm more than that.
But yes, you are. But I keep this in mind. Corporations are not people too. They're your boss. They're supposed to be paying you and taking responsibility for the fact that you are an employee. The fact that they should compensate you for your work, your artistry. They couldn't be where they are today if it wasn't for you. Next time, I know this sounds silly, you look in the mirror and you're getting ready for work or whatever, you're combing your hair. And I know that some of us are just a small cog in these big companies, but that company wouldn't have all the money that you bring in. Give yourself a pat on the back and say that I am the reason why this company is. And then start fighting. Don't let them make you work free hours. Don't let them make you come in on the weekends when they're not compensating you. And the more of a group of people you get together and say, this isn't happening unless you give me the money that I'm owed for my work, I'm not doing it. And I know that's hard because everybody is so underpaid. And everybody's going paycheck to paycheck. And I'm just telling you, to fight. But you know what? Look what we've done to other companies that we all got together. Look at Tesla. You
Target.
see, look how much, once we get together, we're powerful. They can yield. Okay, now they won't be trillionaires. They'll be lower billionaires. Can you believe I have to say that? Can you believe that I have to say that 1 or 6 people in a lot of these large companies are multi-billionaires because they're underpaying you?
Let's just use the most obvious example. Walmart.
Right.
Effectively, something like 80% of their employees are welfare level income. Their income qualifies them for welfare.
And you
most
know why?
Of them
Wait,
don't have,
I asked.
Well, most of them don't have insurance because in this country, you need to work a 40-hour work week to be offered insurance. And
they hold them
they
to
make
20.
sure that you don't work those 40 hours.
That's exactly right.
And yet the ownership, it's bad enough that they are worth many, many, many billions of dollars, but they make that money on a continual annual basis. Isn't one time enough? You would think that, we got our money for the year of 1999. We're done taking a salary. But because they've got more money that would cover generations of their family. But no, they take this annually. I mean, exactly how much would the salaries of your employees at Walmart go up if 3 individuals stopped taking $2 and $3 and $4 billion a year each?
Quarter.
What do they need that for?
It's every quarter.
And I'm going to come right out and say it. I've heard this. Whoa, it's their company. They don't need it, and they surely do not deserve it. I'll look them dead in the eye and say, you don't deserve it. First of all, they didn't build anything. Their old man built it.
But wait.
Talk about riding off the spigot.
Let me add a little nugget into this. He said that, and I said, they keep most of their employees at 20 hours a week.
No, it's actually 30-something.
No,
20 is full-blown part-time.
Exactly. That's what I just talked to them about. And so all the new employees there are around 20. And so when they need health care, guess who pays for it? Medi-Cal,
yes.
Medicare. So Walmart employees literally are getting paid by us. And I want to fight that. Why should I pay Walmart's employees health care when they choose not to pay to keep billions? Why is Walmart the biggest consumer of Medi-Cal and Medicaid? Why? Because they refuse. Yeah.
You've seen our grocery bill.
Yeah.
I mean, we're certainly paying them enough to pay those people a salary.
Exactly. So keep that in mind next time you go and talk to the people in there. You will rarely find someone who's working 40 hours a week. Rarely. And Walmart, as a policy, only hires men managers. So, and you can go in and see all the men that are on the walls. The manager is this man, this man, this man. I've been in lots of Walmarts. They have the man's picture on the wall. And the women can't be managers. Only of certain departments. Like the one lady told me she could do the shoe department, the women's clothing department, and that kind of, and the bakery. The bakery, right? So, but the men get the lion's share of the departments because, we're probably should be home, right? Like we were told before. So, companies, on a serious note, when we, in the 80s, in the United States, allowed Wall Street to dissolve unions and things like that and say that they don't need regulating the stock markets and things like that, we also took away consumer protections. And within the consumer protection walls were codicils that said that if you worked for a company, you were to be compensated fairly. And it had to go along with the cost of living and stuff. Well, those were dissolved. That's why wages are here, cost of living is up here. And this is why my pet project is to restore consumer protections. So hear me again. This is why wages are down here because of the 80s and prices are up here. You can't afford a lot of things. People are paying $1,000 a month for a car that's probably only worth 20 grand or 10 grand.
$250 a month.
I've never seen anything like it. Cars, anything, food, everything has gone through the roof, but your wages haven't. Because in the late, I'd say 70s, 80s, the wages were $4.35. Was
$4.25, I think.
$4.35 was what I remembered. But now they're $15 and $7 in some states.
$7 in most states.
Let's see here.
There's only a very tiny fraction of states.
But we're talking.
And those are state. They do. That's right. State wage. The federal wage was $4.25, $4.35 in the late 70s and 80s. It is now $7.25.
So that's 50 years, and you only got $3. So you tell me that back then in the 70s, when you could buy a car for like $1,000 or $900, that same car that you're purchasing now is $40,000 and $50,000, and you're only making $7 an hour. You see how the wages have kind of been pushed down?
The Jeff Bezos
a lot.
The Jeff Bezos of the world back then made $1 million.
Right.
Not
And we thought that
500
was a
billion.
lot.
And
Yeah.
we thought that was a lot.
Mm-hmm. And then they decided we're not going to raise.
Somehow.
I mean, it went from 10% wages to now 1%, 3%. But inflation is 3 and 4%.
Yeah.
So you can never catch up.
And I really question that. How
It's
much?
not- it's
how
higher.
much? How much arithmetic, algorithm,
Algorithm.
this, that, and the other do they employ to blow smoke up our skirts that the inflation is only 2 and 3% when
It's clear it's
you
higher.
go to the grocery store and you can see more than 2 and 3% in 95% of the products you buy, and that's just a microcosm of the entire example.
Of deception. It is deceptive. When you get rid of the accounting office of the federal government that follows this and you have to guess, you better guess in the right direction, which is higher than what you see and what you're hearing. If they say 3 to 4%, I can go to Wall Street and prove to you that it's like 7 to 10% more or even higher, depending on what you're purchasing. When they're making money and they're making rallies on the Wall Street and stuff like that, that's not affecting you. You know what these companies are doing? It's called a buyback. They needed money, so they sold some of their shares out there to people, right? And when, shares were kind of low, well, when the stocks went up, and they're starting to go up, they bought them back, and then the stocks kept rising. So they were making money off their own shares. That's what they're doing. That's not affecting you. Actually, you're losing money. You know why? The dollar is devaluing every day. Why is our dollar devaluing? Because Americans don't have money. We're paying too high for everything, so the dollar's going down and down and down, and it's going to continue to go down.
And you have
The more they
ripping
take,
people off.
the more they take from us, the less we have to give, and that's how the dollar is valued. The more we spend, the volume goes up. The less we can spend, the value goes down. And we are at a precipice now where I don't know if we're even going to get through the end of this coming year without suffering some catastrophic, economic losses. Because what I'm seeing is that these companies, 20, 30, 40 of them, that are multi-billionaires are buying back all their stocks, but the majority of the wealthy people, the millionaires and stuff, are pulling their money out of stocks. Why? Because they know what's going on.
If you're an average person,
You don't
unless you
understand
have
this.
an E-Trade account, you aren't in the stock market. I don't give a crap what your 401k says. You aren't in the stock market.
You're not making money either.
It was the most clever thing in the history of this country, what they did in the 70s and 80s by removing pensions from companies and turning around and putting your retirement in the stock market. Because what they did was
Steal
they
your money.
privatized your money.
And
they took
stole
it
it.
out of your employers and your direct hand and started messing around with it in the stock market. You people shouldn't even be looking at the stock market. The stock market does not dictate how good this country is doing from a financial perspective. In fact, the stock market doesn't dictate how the world is doing. The stock market tells a couple of companies how great they're doing.
But the thing about the
people,
stock
you don't
market
care.
and your 401k is that they took your choice away. I remember back in the early 2000s where there was a pension in my family, and you could choose what stocks you chose.
Was it a pension or a 401k?
It was a 401k, which is also, And so you could choose what stocks. They took that away and they let the traders, the people, it's like, what do you say? The fox in the hen house. They decided what, and so they speculated on risky business. So that's why everybody lost.
I can't even get,
and they're still losing.
We're
I know.
so far off of power. I mean,
no, but this is power.
You know who's power? Let me give you a great example of
power.
real power versus perceived. Real power was Jimmy Carter. Perceived power is Donald Trump. Sit back, think about that for a very long minute, and you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Well, real and perceived power. Jimmy Carter was a wonderful president.
Who could go anywhere in this world
is true,
and people
and
would take
loved
the
him.
shirt off their back.
I understand.
That's power.
It is power. And there are a lot of people that have that power. And a lot of it's not really power, it's respect. It is respect. And respect is power.
Real respect.
So we're dealing with respected and the unrespected is what I think, don't you?
Sure.
And the problem is that we've allowed corporations to control our entire country.
Politics.
And
everything.
took away our voices and told us we don't have a voice, that now they control our prices, our lifestyle, everything. And that's something we have to take back. We really do. By making us into a third world country, making us so poor, homeless everywhere, right? We're stuck where we are until we're not stuck, until we decide not to be stuck, right?
Yeah.
And real and perceived power is that as a history major, now let me get this out. Every civilization has overthrown their government that has taken away all of their rights, power, food, and autonomy, meaning, any kind of freedoms. So are we at that point? I'm listening, because they're trying to take away all of our power. And if you look at history, then look at the French, look everywhere, look at every corner of the world. When they try to take away power of intelligent people will rise up against them. You're the history major. Tell them how it works.
This is the first time in history where most of the majority or the masses are actually educated.
That's right.
That didn't start until the mid-1800s, where they finally realized that you needed to start educating the majority of the individuals. And we're in a different world now, Yeah, I'm not going to go down that path.
No,
That's
but
a whole
it's part.
nother show,
It's power, and this show is about power, and this show is about whose power, who's going to win the power struggle in the United States, and it is a struggle, and we are struggling. We're struggling, and we're watching, and we're screaming, and trying to figure out a way to take power that is being abused back. I think we're at a point where we're like, I'm frightened at times. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm frightened at the people that have this power and they're abusing it.
Yeah.
Well, are we good?
Yep.
This is tough because there's a lot of stuff going on. We're wearing a shirt that I picked up, and it's kind of yin and yang, right? And in a lot of ways you can look at it like it's a good against evil and the poor against the rich, and it just goes, it's infinite, the opposites and stuff like that. And Kirk and I are trying to just put a little bit of information out there. We don't have all the answers, but we want to learn with you. And I want to say a big shout out to a friend of ours in the Virgin Islands.
Leon, what's up, buddy? Hey.
Hi, Leon.
LCJ is the way. I've known Leon for many, many
Yes.
years. And a finer man you will not find.
But now that we're ending our show, hopefully we've given you a little bit to think about. The next time you go to work and you don't feel like you're getting paid enough, start talking to your people. Network and try to make things better for yourself. I know it's hard, and you got to be brave, and that's difficult. I myself, I'm nervous about talking at times and things like that, but I'm trying to be as brave as I possibly can. And he knows I'm telling the truth. I had to just come out of myself and say, I've got to do this. And if I'm going to tell other people to be brave, I better be brave myself. So,
and get off the social media. My God, the answers are not on social media.
No.
Pick up a book. Check out your local news. You people know where you need to go to find the facts, honesty, the real truth.
Right. And don't listen to somebody.
Get out of social.
Yeah, but don't listen to somebody whose life is a shambles. Like I'm sorry, but I have to.
Some people.
I have had people walk up to me and tell me this person told them blah blah blah, and I look at the person, I'm like, my God, they have nothing together. And this is why your life is a shamble.
Yeah.
Because you're listening to somebody who has nothing together. Nothing. Do not listen to the people that want to bring you down. If somebody tells you something that elevates you, enlightens you, and enlightens others, and it has, when their eyebrows go up, you've got the right information. They're like, huh. Okay, I can follow that. But when your eyebrows go down and you say that, Scotty down the street said that if we bootleg some booze and we do, I'm just making that up. But you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, people. Don't listen to somebody who doesn't have their crap together.
Yeah, they don't have the answers.
And
they're as obvious as your nose on your face.
And we can go both ways, though, and don't listen to somebody that's so wealthy that they're detached from reality. Find that middle person, that has the struggle and the answer. Okay? And then you can walk a path. You can learn from them and they can learn from you. That's just the way I've learned. Because if you're wealthy and you don't know what the struggle is, you can't advise somebody who's struggling how to get out.
Which is
and if you all are struggling, you have no answers how to get out, that's not going to help you. But those people in the middle that want to lift you up, get them.
This is the de facto problem with the United States government from top to bottom. The wealthy people are running the show, and believe me, they do not have your interests at heart. They never have. They never will. And this has been a problem for thousands of years.
It's always been that way because they want to hold you down. They need you work. They need you for work.
They need you to work for free so that they can have everything they want.
Exactly.
They want 50 yachts. They want 60 vacation homes. And you're the person that's going to put that in their back pocket.
Right.
Okay.
This has been the Public Service Show. And I'm Sandra.
And I'm Kirk.
And I want to say good evening and Happy New Year to everybody in the world. If you can hear us, we want you to have a wonderful year and to grow and learn and hopefully get some peace, whenever, maybe a couple of times every day would be wonderful. Or more, if you can get that. I'm looking for it. How about you?
Yep.
You have been watching a public service show. America is part of a global community. Sandra and I are well aware that the American experience had the hope for freedom. America isn't perfect by any means, and we are currently having our freedoms tested. Here at the Public Service Show, we're going to look at how and why we're at this point in America.